Imagine standing on an ancient battlefield, long before gunpowder or machines, where every weapon was crafted by hand, every strike meant life or death, and where a single tool could erase armies, crush bones, or end life before the victim knew it happened. Today we are diving into the 5 of the deadliest ancient weapons that would kill you, but the final one is so brutal and so misunderstood that historians still argue whether its existence should even be taught openly. And we will get there, but not yet, because the road leading to it is lined with monstrous creations you have probably never even heard of. Let's start where you least expect it, with a weapon that was built not to wound, but to make sure the enemy never left the field alive, the Khopesh of ancient Egypt, a sickle-shaped blade forged to reach around shields, hook flesh, sever tendons, and drag a man down in seconds. It wasn't designed for clean cuts, it was designed to twist into the body and pull, leaving wounds so severe that survival was impossible even with treatment. And yet the Khopesh is only the opening gate into much darker inventions. Because the second weapon perfected the art of ending someone long before they saw the attacker, a device so simple it looks like a farming tool, but in the hands of Assyrian warriors it became the silent nightmare of ancient battlefields. The sling, but not the child's toy you imagine. These slings launched lead projectiles at speeds rivaling modern baseball pitches, and those projectiles were almond-shaped, sharpened, and heavy enough to crack skulls like clay pots. An Assyrian slinger could kill from more than 100 meters away, and many victims died without ever knowing a battle had begun, yet even that pales compared to the terror weapon waiting ahead. Because next comes a creation from India, a weapon so deadly it was banned by many kings out of fear that no armor could protect against it, and this is the Urumi, a whipsword made of thin, flexible steel ribbons that slice through flesh in spirals. Imagine a sword that moves like a snake, cutting in every direction at once, wrapping around shields, arms, necks, and legs, shredding anything in its path. Warriors trained with this weapon from childhood because one wrong move meant killing themselves. And yet in the hands of a master it could clear entire lines of enemies with a single spinning motion. But even this is not the one you're waiting for, not the secretive, almost forbidden weapon you will hear about at the end, the one so cruel that some researchers say it should have never existed at all. First, we journey to China, where engineers built a device not for duels or heroic combat but for absolute battlefield horror, the repeating crossbow known as the Chu-Ko-Nu. Picture a bow that fires bolt after bolt with a quick pump of its lever, unleashing a storm of deadly projectiles coated in poison so that even a scratch meant certain death. Soldiers could wipe out waves of attackers without ever slowing their rate of fire. And the psychological impact was devastating, because facing a Chu-Ko-Nu line meant choosing between being pierced instantly or dying minutes later from the venom burning through your bloodstream. And still, none of these match the weapon that historians hesitate to describe in detail. This final creation wasn't designed for war alone. It was designed for destruction, used by ancient tribes who believed that killing was not enough, that the enemy must be erased and terrified in the process, and it is known as the man-catcher, a medieval and late ancient polearm used across Eastern Europe and parts of Asia, shaped with metal prongs that snap shut around a victim's neck or torso, trapping them in a steel embrace they could not break. Once trapped, the victim could be dragged from horseback, held in place for execution, crushed against the ground, or pulled apart by force. The prongs often had inward spikes so that if the victim struggled, the spikes tore deeper into the flesh, making escape impossible and survival unlikely. This was a weapon meant to kill slowly, to send a message, and to remind everyone watching that ancient warfare did not care about dignity or mercy. When you look at these weapons together, you realize something unsettling. Ancient people were not primitive, they were terrifyingly inventive, creating tools that required no electricity, no gunpowder, and no machines, yet delivered death with shocking precision. And the truth is that every empire, every kingdom, every forgotten tribe contributed something to the long, bloody evolution of human violence. But there is a lesson hidden inside all this brutality, something worth remembering. These weapons were born from fear, from power struggles, from survival instincts that pushed humans to invent ever more lethal ways to protect what they valued. And while today we look at them in museums as relics, thousands of years ago they were the dividing line between life and death. So as you take a moment to breathe after witnessing these horrors, remember that history is not just kings and dates and battles. It is every tool humanity created in its darkest moments, every invention meant to destroy, every weapon built by hands that believed this was the only way to survive another day. And if these 5 deadly creations shook you, just imagine how many others remain forgotten in the dust of ruins, waiting to be uncovered, waiting to remind us that the ancient world was far more dangerous, far more shocking, and far more brilliant in its brutality than we can ever fully comprehend.